What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Finally bring you guys a video. We've had internet issues over the last few days and we've been extremely busy. I'm sure you guys would have seen the community post. If you guys haven't seen it, make sure to go ahead and check it out. But finally back with a video, and we got some big stuff today with Shanks versus Kid officially announced. We all expected it to happen. We were just waiting for the announcement. They gave us a little bit of a teaser, which basically confirmed that Shanks versus Kid was going to be coming, and he's finally here today, which is what we're going to be talking about. Now, this information has been live for quite a while now, so people have had time to digest this information. A lot of people have some pretty strong opinions about this one. I've already made a brief opinion on a community post about it, but let's go ahead and dive into what this character actually does, and I'll give you my thoughts and opinions as we go along. So, first thing is first, we do have to talk about Shanks. Shanks is int. Yeah. Shanks is int, and Kid is strength, which is the most hilarious part about this unit, I think. A lot of people have been campaigning for a strength Shanks for the longest time. For those who don't know, we don't have a red Shanks in the game thus far. That's just funny in and of itself, and this was like a really cool opportunity to potentially end that hoodoo, and they haven't done it, so that's funny. Anyways, Shanks is a slasher cerebral. Obviously, it's a versus effect unit. This character is final tap. When I first saw the icon, it says like tandem and final tap, but the tandem one is first. So I thought Shanks would have been a tandem unit, but no, he's actually final tap. Kid is the tandem unit. So we'll talk about those guys as we move along. So Shanks, yeah, slasher cerebral. He has, well, this also counts for Kid as well, but it's barrier penetration and critical strike, which is good. So the captain ability of Shanks is going to boost the attack of all characters by 6 times, by up to 6 times, based on the number of slashes on the crew. So starting off at a 5 times multiplier, Rainbow Captain, the more slashes, the higher the multiplier. A full team of slashes gets you a 6 times captain. HP by 1.3, tandem slots will be matching. If you've got 4 or more characters on your crew that are slashes, reduces despair by 10 turns, so that's his utility piece there. I believe one of the other characters in this celebration already removed despair. I can't remember which one it was. I think it might have been Trafalgar Law. So the fact this character also removes despair is kind of like fine. It's like just whatever. He also, well, if you have 4 slashes on your crew, you know, with the despair reduction, he also says that it boosts slasher characters' critical rate by 30% for 10 turns at the start of the quest. So as soon as you start the quest, if you've got the 4 slashes, boom, for 10 turns, you get this effect where the critical strike rate is increased by 30%. And this does mean that this character is a guaranteed crit for the first 10 turns. I did have a look in game. The data download is already in game. The critical hit rate of this character is 80%, which is annoying because they're kind of like, they're nerfing these potential abilities, because like back in the day, a lot of these characters would have like god tier barrier pierce or god tier crits. They just don't do that anymore, so that they can have like effects in the captain or specials that will basically amplify those effects to make them seem more valuable, when this effect is just kind of whatever. Realistically, critical strike rate is a very, very interesting effect, because the critical strike rate, like it says like it adds 10% hypothetically, like it can add 10% of damage when you hit a crit. The problem is that it only really works for the final hit of damage. Like for this character, for example, this character has 4 combo hits. The critical hit only works on the final combo hit. So only a very small portion of Shanks' damage is actually affected by the critical hit, which is why a lot of people say that, you know, crit is not that good in One Piece Treasure Cruise. They really need to buff crit in some way to make it worthwhile, because if they buffed crit where, you know, if you hit a crit, you're like super effective against all types or something along those lines, then this effect would be absolutely busted. But at the moment, it's just kind of like a slight bit of extra damage. Furthermore, if you have a full team of slashes on your crew, and you tap on this character with an int slot or a tandem slot, it applies a 10% slasher resistance to all enemies for 1 turn, so it gives just a bit of additional damage once again to your slashers. Furthermore, if you have 6 slasher characters on your crew, and you have a territory slasher applied, then slasher characters get a 6.5 times attack boost instead from the captain. And then it says that if he is your captain and you perform excellent with your action special, it's going to boost the attack of the next final tap performed by a slasher character by 8% when a slasher character with a critical attack potential ability performs a critical attack for 3 turns. Again, like, this basically just adds additional final tap damage, which I know that the Trafalgar Law character in the previous celebration, he basically did this for strikers, but now we've got a very similar kind of build, but for slasher characters instead. The whole focus around Shanks is to fully abuse this final tap bonus damage to make Shanks hit incredibly hard, because remember, Shanks is final tap. And then this character, if you do a tap with Int or Tandem, you get the 10% resistance down. Again, just giving even more damage towards Shanks himself. And you gotta remember though, the cool thing about this is, while this effect doesn't seem like super crazy, you do have to remember, you can synergize this with Zoro and Sanji to make your whole crew slashes, and you can get crazy benefits because of that. And I think that's like the thing that's really holding this character up, because at the moment, this is like not a very exciting captain ability. I was expecting a bit more than this, but I will say that while it doesn't seem very exciting at the moment, I think that it does have really high potential when it comes to inflicting crazy amounts of damage towards the opponent. So we'll see how it goes. It just doesn't seem very exciting on paper, but I think that once people get a chance to use it, I think he actually will be pretty good. Let's have a look at his special ability. So Shanks' special will apply the slasher territory for 3 turns. We all know what that does by this point. It reduces your slasher character's cooldown by 1. That's a nice effect to have. It boosts damage dealt to delayed or weakened enemies up to 3 times based on the action special performance. So it's either a 2.5 conditional, but it can scale up to a 3.0 for excellent. Most of the time you won't be doing that because you just don't need to. And then furthermore says that if you have 6 slashes on your crew, allows the crew to stack up to 2 different damage boosting effects. What this is double stacking conditional boosts, very similar to Exchange Legend Ace, Final Tap Robin, and Final Tap Dex Big Mom. So this is really strong. Double stacking conditional boosts is a very powerful effect and allows obviously a lot of Kizuna Super Boss teams to do absurd amounts of damage because of double stacking conditional boosts. Furthermore, that double stacking conditional boost just lasts for 3 turns, so long as you have a full team of slashes. It then says, if 2 different damage boosting effects can be stacked when you launch the special, so basically if you already have double stacking conditional boost active and then you launch him again, it will boost damage dealt to enemies affected by defense down and increase damage taken status by 2.5 times for 1 turn, and it further increases your conditional boosts by 0.25. So this is obviously very strong, because it means that if you're running double Shanks, you can have 1 Shanks giving you 1 conditional boost against delayed or weakened, and then when you activate the secondary one, because you've already granted double stacking conditional boost from the first special, the secondary Shanks can actually give you a second conditional boost against defense down or increased damage taken, and it's also buffing those effects by 0.25. I actually really like the way that this is kind of designed with the special, because you're getting 2 conditional boosts, but in order to get the conditional boost to activate, you've got like 4 different statuses that you can inflict to the enemy for this. Defense down, increased damage taken, delayed, or weakened status. So you got all these different status effects, and so long as some of them are applied to the opponent, you can potentially get 2 double stacking conditional boosts from 1 character, which is incredibly strong. But of course, you only get the second conditional boost if you already have double stacking conditional boosts active, so that can be a little bit of a detriment to him. But potentially, like, you could run something like Nico Robin, right, who's a cerebral unit. This character is cerebral. You need a cerebral or a free spirit captain in order for that to work. You can then go ahead and get Robin to launch, and then you can go ahead and use like Zoro Sanji to change everyone into slashes, and then you can use Shanks' special, and because you've got a full team of slashes, you can get the benefits because of that. Like, that's one use case that you could potentially use for this. I think Shanks is going to be pretty strong for a Super Boss Kizuna, which is like pretty much what he's going to be designed for, because he just focused on doing as much damage as he possibly can. Okay, so we've talked about the captain, we've talked about the special ability. Let's go ahead and move on now. Crewmate ability. Boost slasher character's base attack by 1.1. This is actually really, really good. So if we pull up the trusty handy dandy calculator, if a character has like 2,000 attack, this crewmate ability just gives them an extra 200 attack, and obviously it scales up the more like attack they have. If they've got 3,000, 3,300, like, this is a very, very good crewmate ability. The secondary one, slasher and shooters get HP 150. Int tandem and matching for slasher, tandem bomb super bomb for shooters. Obviously that's a bit of a highlight as to what should be coming for Kid. The versus effect, of course, so this is another key component of this unit with their versus effect, so let's see what it does. The activation requirement, I'm already seeing this is going to be a bit of a problem. When the number of recovery, tandem bomb, or super bomb slots used by normal attacks, and you have passed 18 total turns. So the value is 18, and every time you pass a turn or consume a recovery, tandem bomb, or super bomb, then that's it. The thing is as well, with the way that this is worded, it says used in normal attacks by character, means that this character themselves has to use the recovery, tandem bomb, or super bomb, not your crew. Means getting this value of 18 is going to be very, very difficult, at least in normal content. Obviously in Kizuna, the versus effect gets scaled up, so that's not a problem, but in normal generic content, this versus effect is going to be very, very difficult to get, so I am a little concerned about that. But of course, in Kizuna terms, this is going to be activated almost immediately, so that's not that big of a deal. The versus effect itself applies a weakened status of 1.3 and a further 1.3 if increased damage taken is active. So yeah, this is a lot, and it does go through full immunity as well for 1 turn, and then boost slasher character's base attack by 1000. That effect is kind of like fine. It gives them a bit of additional damage, I suppose, but that's really, really good. So you get 1.3 multiplied by 1.3, a 1.69 increased damage taken effect from weakened, and then obviously if you have like let's say a 2 times increased damage taken as well, like a 3.38 bonus, like yeah, it's strong. This is the first weakened status that goes through full immunity that doesn't occur in a captain effect, so it means you can have this guy as your crewmate and still activate this whenever you want. So this is a very powerful versus effect, but 18 turns is harsh. It is harsh. And remember, he does have final tap. In order to activate it, you need to be on the final battle. You need to have 5 slasher characters on your crew. And then it says 5 slasher characters, not including himself, so basically a full team of slashers. And the activation effect will change his own slot, including block, and ignoring the inability to change super block slots into tandem. So he gets himself a guaranteed tandem slot, and further boosts the chain multiplier of the final tap by 2.25, and further increases damage dealt with specific status effects by 0.25. So 2.25 chain, 0.25 increase to your conditional boosts, and guaranteed tandem slot. What I will say though is this is really, really good with this captain effect, remember, because if you have your slashers and you hit with int or a tandem slot, he gives 10% slasher resistance. So this final tap basically gives like the 2.25 chain, which is really good, by the way. This is because we have a lot of different final taps in the game, right? We have like a couple of different ones that are like really good, and we've got ones that are really, really bad. This falls into the category of one of the good final taps, ones that we've seen from like obviously the double stacking conditional boost characters of Robin and Big Mom have this similar kind of final tap where it multiplies the chain by a certain value. So basically, if you get to Shanks with your final tap and your chain is, let's say, 8 times chain, you multiply the 8 by 2.25, and then Shanks's chain is going to be that. You know, this can go crazy if you have really good chain boosting effects activated when you are performing the final tap. And then buffing the conditional boost by 0.25 is also pretty good as well. So while I say that I don't think Shanks is bad by any means, it's just not what we were expecting. I think we're expecting something a little bit more powerful, something a little bit more high end, because all of this stuff focusing on crit rate bonuses and then final tap bonuses, like and the crit stuff is just kind of weird and wonky. Like, yeah, the crit stuff with the final tap, like, it does give him extra damage and it's gonna make him really, really strong. But like, the thing is it's only really gonna be good if you're up against a side boss, realistically, right? Because he's not gonna get super effective damage. So that's the only thing that I think could be a problem, is that while, yes, he's going to be really, really strong, and I guess it really depends on the situation, right? Because this could still stack pretty well, I think, with the Final Tap dual Yamato character. I'm going to pull up the database real quick. I don't remember if that dual Yamato has critical hit. If that dual Yamato does have critical hit, then that's going to be actually pretty spicy. And I don't know why this database is taking so goddamn long to launch, but we'll see once it loads. Here we go. So let's go Yamato. Show dual characters. I don't remember if this character has crit or not. Pinch healing, enrage, and last tap. So that's unfortunate. This character doesn't have crit to fully abuse some of the stuff from Shanks, but either way, it is what it is. I think that Shanks is still going to be a really good character, all things considered. Let's have a look at his Rumble stuff real quick. So remember, in Rumble, he's going to be Int Slasher Cerebral. He is an attacker style unit with a 20 cooldown, which is great. The special at 20 cooldown targets all enemies for 5,000 fixed damage. Targets Cerebral and Slashers for 6 attack, 6 speed, 6 crit. That's pretty good. I mean, that's good. For a 20 cooldown, this is very, very strong. This could slide in pretty well into slasher teams. Let's see what the Rumble ability does. Your int teammates get 6 HP. Cerebral and Slasher get 6 speed, 6 crit, 6 defense. Ugh, that's a bit of a bad Rumble ability for slashers specifically. I don't think that's very good. The Rumble ability is not great, but the special ability is great. On a 20-turn cooldown, on a slasher team that can apply a lot of pressure very, very quickly. But the thing is, though, is that like 5,000 fixed damage, is that really enough to replace the 10th anniversary Shanks on slasher teams? I don't think it is. I think the 10th anniversary Shanks might be a little bit more valuable still on the slasher teams, but this is just another option that you get access to, I suppose. He does have Grand Party stuff. The Grand Party stuff, when the enemy uses 6 Rumble specials, he targets all enemies for 8,000 damage, and when remaining time is 30 seconds or less, he does 8,000 additional damage. Yo, that's a very good Rumble special. This basically is a guaranteed knockout of all characters pretty much when you're in the last 30 seconds of a battle. But the problem is this really worth running over Gear 5 Luffy? I don't think it is, but I think that this does have potential, because 8,000 damage is no joke. Like, that will do more than half to most characters in Rumble. But anyways, in terms of what it does for Rumble stuff, in terms of the leader skill, he gives buffs to Cerebral and Slashers, and Strength and Int characters get a CT increase, and defense and attack. Attack, speed, and defense. That's pretty nice. I think he's usable. He's usable for sure. I just don't think he's going to be like the best character. I think the Gear 5s are still better to be using in Rumble, let's be real here. But that's a breakdown of Shanks. I probably will split this up into a couple different videos to break down each of the characters, give them their own little time to shine. So that's going to wrap it up for the Shanks portion. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. We're going to be bringing a couple of videos here with Kid and also the other debut legend as well. So hopefully you stick around for that one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about Shanks down below in the comment section. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to go ahead, leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.